What's going on, Dash University? It is another amazing day. Guys, I have something amazing to share with you guys today. I have something that I truly love teaching, and that is sales. Guys, this episode is gonna be jam-packed and full of value, knowledge, golden nuggets that you guys will be able to take back to your agency and apply it right away so you guys have clarity on what you guys need to be doing to actually close more deals. So we're gonna jump straight into it because we got a lot to cover. And today, as you guys may know, the topic of today's Dash University training is how to present your right fit solution to decrease your prospect's fear and increase your probability of closing more deals. Now, why is this a topic? Well, because, a lot of us are trying to go out there and sell these services to business owners, but we're not getting a conversion, meaning we're not getting them interested or we're not getting them to buy from us. And a lot of the times we go through a full presentation and then they don't buy, and it's like, why? So this training is gonna give you tons of clarity on why they didn't buy, and so it gives you an idea of what you need to be doing differently to actually improve those conversions. So let's get started. So what if I told you that making sales is actually super simple? And to make a sale, all you need are the four main components that, with enough clarity, it would allow you to make literally every single sale ethically with the right people. So what do you think that is gonna do for you guys if you had clarity on exactly what you need to do to literally make any sale that you want ethically with the right people, right? Why do I say with the right people? Well, it's because we're not gonna sell something to the people who aren't a right fit to our service and to our product, right? Because it's not gonna be a benefit to them. So that's why we do this ethically and with clarity that I'm about to give you. You're literally gonna be able to sell anything to anybody, and that's why I have to add that in there. So let's move on. So what are the four components of every sale? So if you're missing any one of these, guys, you are going to be it's gonna be very hard for you to make a sale. It's almost impossible to make a sale. So let's break it down here one by one. So the first component to making a sale is you have to make sure that that person is qualified, right? Why is that important? Well, it's because, if the product you're selling isn't a good fit for that person, why are you selling it to them, right? You're literally trying to scam them for their money because you'd sell them something that they don't need or they're not gonna use. So that's why the first things first is you gotta make sure that person's qualified, right? Before you even share them about your product, maybe before you even share them what your strategy is or whatever your service is, right? You wanna make sure they're qualified. Now, once we get past that stage, okay, now we need to make sure that your customer, your prospect has trust and certainty in your product and service, right? So after qualifying them, this adds an extra layer, which means how does your product fit and right fit into your prospect's problems that they have, right? So how does your solution, product or service, fit into your prospect's problem, right? And you wanna make sure that you mold it to their specific problems, right? So that they have trust in it that it's actually gonna work for them, okay? Moving on. They also need to have trust in your business, right? So not only do they need to have trust in the product, but they also need to have trust in the business that they're buying the product from. So I'll give you an example, okay? Let's just say, you like this product. Let's talk about a car real quick, a car dealership, right? Let's say you want a car, this used car, right? But the dealership that's selling it to you, it's John Doe's dealership that, looks a little shady and, doesn't really run credit or anything, and it's there's a lot of things that are raising red flags. So even though you may like the product, you don't really trust the business, so you might just still get that car, but maybe with another business, right? So that's why you need to have trust in the business. And then the last one is they need to trust you. So if you're selling a product and service to somebody, right, one, they can like the product, right, and they know it's for them. Two, they can like the business selling them the product. But three, if they don't like you selling it to you, selling them the product, if they don't like you, the person selling that to them, they're not gonna buy, right? If they like your business and the product, but they don't like you, what are they gonna do? They're just gonna go buy it from your coworker, or they're gonna go buy it from someone else, the exact same thing that you were trying to sell them for. So once again, you wanna make sure that someone, that they like you, and I'm gonna give you guys clarity on how to build that trust in all of these different categories. So let's move on. Awesome, guys. So what is sales success? What does it mean to be successful in sales? Well, what sales success is it's actually a series of yeses, right, that ultimately leads to giving your prospects enough trust and certainty in you, your product and business, resulting in a yes that puts money in the bank, right? Does that all make sense? So if you think about it, right, you talk to a customer and they say, yeah, I'm interested. So that's a yes. Right? And then they jump on a qualification call and you say, okay, well, based on the way you answered the question, I think you're a right fit. Would you like to learn more? And then they say yes again, right? So every time they say yes, you're moving one yes closer to money in the bank, as you can see, right? So that's why what success is just a series of yeses. That's all it is. So our goal is to get as many yeses as possible before we actually ask for the sale. And that's what I'm about to show you. Okay, does this make sense so far? Drop a 343 in the chat. This makes sense so far. Because I don't want to move too fast, because I want to make sure you guys are understanding what we're going over so far. Awesome. 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 So moving on. For every yes that you get during your sales process, what you're actually doing is you're building trust and rapport with your clients, right? For every no, in contrast, I don't know why it's not showing. Can you guys see? You can see it on your end, okay? Cool, awesome. On my screen it doesn't show. But in contrast, when you get a no, right, what that means is that there's a disagreement, right? And when there's a disagreement, you're actually losing rapport, right? Because think about it. If you say, I think this is the best strategy for you, and they say, no, I don't think so, right? Do you think that conversation is positively moving forward, right? It's not, right? So when you say one thing and then they say no, right? Now you have to take a step back and maybe re-explain that differently, right? Where they can then understand it and then say yes before moving forward, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So anytime you get a no, it may mean that you explained it wrong, you didn't explain it enough, you're missing information, or they just don't agree with you and you need to kind of fill them in with context of why they should be agreeing with you, right? Because you're the expert in this scenario. Okay, so what's the fix? Well, the fix is if there's a disagreement, rather than disagreeing and causing resistance and friction, always listen first. Acknowledge, then reframe their thinking, right? So that you can now provide them a new way of looking at things that is in their best interest. So what I mean by that is this. So for example, let's say you have a client that says, hey, I want to run Facebook ads for my business, right? Or a better example, let's say you have a client that says, I want leads, I want to run SEO for my company, for my business, right? And in this case, as an expert, you may know that, or you should know that, SEO is more of a long-term thing. So if you knew the purpose of your client coming to you asking you for help, you would know that with investigation that they have a problem growing their business, which is why they think SEO is what they need. But in all realities, we know they need a more predictable method in place where that would be more like Google or Facebook ads, depending on the industry that we're talking about, right? So in this case, instead of saying, hey, I think you should be running Google ads instead of SEO, right? And they say no, right? You don't want to try to continue moving that conversation forward up until you can take a step back and have them agree with your thought process. So what we would do here is we would say, well, no, I completely understand, right? So we acknowledge first, we have to listen to what he says. So he says he wants to run SEO first, right? And so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna listen that he wants to run SEO. We're gonna listen, right? We're not gonna say anything yet. We're gonna acknowledge, meaning, okay, I hear you on that, right? I get it. I get that you wanna run SEO for your business, right? And then we're gonna reframe their thinking to provide a new way of looking at things, because guess what? We're the experts, right? Last time I checked, they called us for help, right? If they knew how to run SEO or that they knew that they needed SEO, they probably would have done that already, right? And so for us, this is how we're gonna win their trust. if we can reframe their thought process to give them guidance on what's going to be the better method. So for example, you would say, I hear you on that, I completely get it, but with SEO, right, you want to think about this as more of a long-term play. Why? Well, because it takes time, anywhere from 3 to 6 months, to rank your website using SEO. If your goals are to grow your business, Mr. Client, I highly recommend that we go with the routes of Google or Facebook, depending on the industry. That's why I'm saying both of them. And typically it would just be one. But either Google, let's just say for this example, so that we can drive predictable business into your location, right? By putting up an ad that I could put ad spend behind, taking that offer and driving that over to a landing page or a mini website where we're going to capture information, and that'll turn into a prospect that you can follow up with and bring into your business, right? That method then becomes something we can apply right now and get you leads coming through the door, and then we'll take some of that investment, some of those profits, and invest it back into the plan that you have, which is SEO, down the line where it makes most sense, right? And then they're going to be like, oh, yeah, okay, you know what? So guess what? Now I can move forward, right? I might have had to do that whole and go off on the tangent right there just so that I can explain to him that SEO isn't the right fit, but Google Ads is, based on the pains that that they're trying to solve, which in most cases is growing their business, right? Moving on, right? So first things first, okay? So before you think about starting the sales process, you need to make contact and qualify the person to see if it even makes sense to talk about your solution. How many times I see this all this time with people, I don't know who's teaching this, but like, why are people spending hours, 45 minutes to an hour on a call with someone who they don't know if they can help or not, right? So for example, I'll give you an idea, right? So you got people like, let's say cold calling or calling an old list, right? For example, let's say you're calling an old list of clients, right? And let's say this is back to the car dealership. Let's say you're calling back your old list of clients, right? And you got the sales guy calling this list of clients, right? And instantly offering them the deal of the week for their new car promotion, right? And he calls him, hey man, my name is Johnny. I'm just giving you a call because we saw you bought a car about 5 years ago, and we were just wanting to touch back and let you know about our new promotion for the upgrade of that same car this year that you can jump into for pretty much super easy transition, right? And then the guy is like, dude, I changed companies like 3 years ago. I drive motorcycles now. And it's like, why are you trying to sell me a car? You didn't even ask me if I still had that car. You didn't even ask me if I enjoyed the car that I bought 5 years ago. You didn't ask me anything, and you're assuming that I want to upgrade my car without asking me first. You see? So that's just a short example so you guys can get an idea. But what ends up happening is, guys, people spend 45 minutes talking about their strategy or their solution or whatever, and the person doesn't even qualify to even listen to it. They might not even have a business, and you're sharing your strategy to somebody who doesn't even have a business. Imagine that, right? So the first things we want to do is qualify. The question you want to ask yourself, is your prospect really qualified? Okay? There's two things that you want to ask yourself for every prospect before you jump into the sales process. Those two things are, is the product or service a good fit for your prospect? Okay, that's why we're gonna ask specific questions to make sure that this is a right fit, and I'm gonna go through that here in 1 second what those questions are. 2, are they able to invest or afford to purchase your product or service? Why is that important to know? Well, because if I'm gonna go through a 45-minute presentation and spend my valuable time going through the benefits, the features, and what makes me different, and how I can help you, and how I'm gonna support you, right? I want to make sure that I do all of that for a purpose, and at the end of that call, there's a very high probability that you can invest, right? But if I don't know those things, and then I jump you through and I go and put you through the sales process and start sharing you my strategy, how much it costs, etc., right? And then you tell me, oh, but I'm broke right now, right? You just wasted I don't know how much time, rather than just doing this first, kicking the tire kicker. And by tire kicker, I mean right now, because you guys are trying to scale quickly, You just want to speak to those who are highly valued and that you know, right? So before even speaking about pricing, before even thinking about speaking about pricing, what it includes, how long it takes, the nitty-gritty, you need to be able to answer yes to these 2 questions. Does that make sense so far? Okay, I hope everyone is qualifying their prospects one way or another, whether it's you doing it or whether you have a fronter doing it. You have to be doing this to work smart, okay? Unless you're gonna want to burn through 100 calls and burn a bunch of time when you could have just weeded out the tire kickers from the get-go and just focused on maybe the 10 golden nuggets from that 100, right? So, what does your qualifying framework look like? How do you know if a person is qualified? Simple, just ask. Here are the questions, okay? So, is your prospect really qualified and a right fit? Here's some questions to ask. What motivated you to schedule a call? Why do we ask that question? Well, it's because they scheduled a call with us, right? And we want to make sure that they know we're the experts in this call and that they need help from us, not the other way around, right? We don't need the client, they need us. They need us more than we need them. And so we want to make sure that they know those things, and that's why we ask this first. And they're going to tell you, well, I'm motivated because, I'm struggling to grow my business, I'm da-da-da-da-da. And they're telling you, literally spilling their pains right there, and by listening, you understand if this is going to be a good fit or not, right? Second question, how many clients are you currently getting per month? Okay, because if they answer the first question, I'm struggling to get my business, da-da-da-da, and then you ask them this question, it's like, well, I'm currently getting about, anywhere from 5, 10, 15 clients per month, or whatever it is. It depends on who you're speaking to, the industry, etc. Some of them a lot more than others, depending on the industry. Like if you're speaking to a gym, they're going to tell you, 60. If you're talking to an attorney, they're going to say probably 2 or 3, right? So it really depends on that. But when you talk about different industries like that, obviously think about an attorney, one client is worth a couple thousand versus a gym is only a few hundred, right? So that's why it's important. Boom. And then what is their desire? How many clients do they want to be getting per month, okay? So we don't know if we can help them unless we know what their goals are, right? Because if they don't know what their goals are, then obviously we can't help them because we can't build them a strategy to get there. That's why we need to have clarity that he wants to also grow his business and he has the goals and the commitment to do so, okay? What does your current new client generation strategy look like? Why do I want to know this? Well, because I want to know what he already knows. And I also want to know what he doesn't know. If his strategy right now is flyers and, all of a sudden he gets random phone calls and, he doesn't even know where they come from, well, that to me is a red flag, right? Because I know if I go right now and I drive up 100 new leads right now, him telling me that, his phone just rings and then he just kind of wings it, that doesn't make me feel good, right? And it shouldn't make you feel good either. That should be raising a red flag that, this is the type of business that's looking for you to build their business for them. He's literally waiting for you to come on board and tell him exactly step by step what he needs to be doing during his sales process. If that's the case, guys, you're not working with a business. You're working with a wantrepreneur, right? He's still not a business owner, okay? Do you have someone on staff trained to follow up with the new opportunities within 5 to 15 minutes? Now, everyone has different strategies on what happens once they get the lead. Some of them send it to a chat bot. Some of them send it to a direct message. There's so many different strategies, right? In this case, though, when you do get a lead in exchange for information or whatever, they buy something, you always want to reach out to that client, not only to, make sure everything went okay and they got everything that they needed, but to ask or answer any questions that they may have in order for you to continue to move them forward during that process, right? So if you don't have someone on staff to follow up with the leads we're going to generate from you, then, there's going to be some area of improvement or room for improvement. And based on if you have a solution for this or not, it may not be a right fit. Some people have a call center on deck ready for this if they answer no to this. And they're like, okay, great, well, we have a call center available. You can hire that. We could talk about that here or later on another call, okay? So that's that. How long does one new customer typically stick around for? So this is where we're trying to figure out what the lifetime value is. I remember someone asked me, how do I figure out what the lifetime value is? Simple, just ask. If you are speaking to a business owner, guys, and they don't know what their lifetime value is, they do not have a business, okay? They have a dream. They have this thing that they don't even know how anything is happening. They don't have anything measurable to go based off of the reference. So guys, this is why this is important, because when you jump on board and you put a jetpack on their business to grow, right, you need to make sure that you can justify with data that it makes sense to continue investing in your service, okay? And so for this, how long does a new customer typically stick around for? Great question. You know, typically a client that signs up with me at the gym will stick around anywhere from 6 to 12 months. You know, on average is around, 10 months, right? So you take the averages of the two. So you're great, 10 months. So you would add 10 months here to your question. Okay, great. So your next question. So what is that customer worth to you on average over that period of time? Okay, so they just told you 10 months, right? And so what the next question is asking them, well, during that 10-month period, how much do you make on average, right? If they pay them per month, right? And you can easily do this math in your head if they're struggling to do so. And the way you calculate it is this. If they say, okay, well, my gym membership, for a new gym member that I get, I make $100 a month, right? So then you would say, okay, well, if they give you $100 a month and they stick around with you for 10 months, that would mean that, a client to you is worth $1,000. Is that right? A new client's worth to you $1,000, and they're going to agree to you because they literally just gave you that info and you're just doing some simple multiplication. Okay? So now what you're really saying is, okay, so Mr. Client, what you're really saying is for one new gym member that I bring you with my program, it's worth to you at least $1,000. Is that right? Yes. Great. Once again, we got a yes. So we keep moving forward. And mind you guys, this is also a call that I highly recommend recording, right? So if you're doing this, use a software or system that allows you to record this call. Why? Because if they said something along the lines of, okay, I have somebody on staff that can follow up with 5-15 minutes. Sarah over there, she's great. Send her a lead, calls them like that. Okay, great. Now you have that recorded, if you recorded it. And so at the end of the month, when you look back at the data of how many leads you've generated and you realize, okay, well, there's something wrong here. Okay, there's a conversion problem here. What's going on, right? Now you can refer back to see and figure out if your front desk or the person responsible making those calls is actually making those calls. And you can do something, and this is a little cool hack. After 14 days, guys, that they generate a lead or you generate a lead, what you can do is you can set up an automation or you could schedule a call within 14 days of generating that lead as a quality assurance call. And this is what I would do to literally play the card of, well, then how do you explain this, right? And what I would do is after a lead was generated, within 14 days, I would give them a call, a random call to the business or to one of the leads. And this call would go along the lines of this. I'd say, hey, my name is Angel, calling from, Johnny's mobile dealer quality assurance team. I just want to reach out to you to see how everything went. Did you claim your voucher? Or did you book your appointment? Or did you come in for your checkup? Or did you come in to change your oil? Whatever it was, and how was your experience? Okay, and this is a phone call. Once again, recorded. Okay, because I'm going to record all these things. Or I can even shoot them a text message with that message, and now they're going to reply with me, oh, yeah, I was great, or no, I was expecting someone to give me a call and no one gave me a call. Oh, or, I was expecting, for someone to reach out to me to provide me more information, but that never happened, so I just went over to someone else. Guys, if you have that data, plus you have this call recording, and then your client tries to play the card, oh no, your leads suck, or your leads are low quality, or whatever. Well, you have the recording of your prospects saying that they didn't follow up, and two, you have the recording of your client saying that they can follow up within 5 minutes. How do you explain that, Mr. Client? It's going to get a little awkward. It's going to get a little awkward because they won't know how to explain that, and then they're going to get blushed. They're going to be blushing because you caught them red-handed. And now they have to pay your next invoice because you're right, they're wrong, and you just gave them a reality check that Mary Sue over here isn't what she says she is, and she's not doing what she says she's doing effectively, right? So something needs to change, and it's not your thing that needs to be changed. It's something internal on their end that he needs to fix to improve the conversions, okay? So that's why this is important, okay? And the last question for the qualification is, if I gave you a proven system that you can get that can get you from X number of clients, so from wherever they're at, 2, desired number of clients to wherever they want to be predictably, keyword predictably, are you able and willing to invest into the growth of your business right now? Okay. Why did I ask that question? Because once again, I don't want to work with anyone who isn't committed or isn't able to afford or invest into my services. So once again, if they answer no, do you really think I'm going to jump on a 45-minute call with this guy? Heck no, I'm not, right? I'm not going to jump on a 45-minute call with someone who tells me no to this question because it's just a waste of my time. Rather than yes, I'd say awesome. I would love to schedule you a next call, right? And then this is where, if you do this and you separate this, whether you do it or you give it to a fronter, right? This is going to substantially increase the probability of you converting the clients that you're actually speaking to about your presentation or what you're doing, right? Moving on. And then question 8 is to disqualify any tire kickers because we only want to spend our limited and valuable time and energy with those who make the decisions that they want to be helped. Okay? Moving on. So let's take a step back. So take in mind that before moving into the sales process, the only thing a prospect knows about you is that you might possibly have a solution to a problem they are facing, aka growing their business, right? They don't know the exact system that you have yet, but they have an idea, and in their mind they think that you can actually help them, right? Another thing, take in mind also that most of the time we're speaking to strangers who don't know, like, or trust us, right? So we have to actually build that trust, right? Because that's how we're gonna win the business, okay? Mind you, they kind of know us a little bit because if you initially reached out and introduced yourself, now they can't play the card that they don't know you. They actually do. You introduce yourself, you know who you are, they know what you're about, they know what you do, and now they kind of know you, right? Doesn't mean they like you yet. But they also kind of like you a little because they already gave you actually one yes rather than a no and hang up on you in exchange for more information, guys. So if you're, let's say, doing cold calls or cold emailing or whatever your strategies are, walk-ins, if you got a yes during that approach, they kind of like you, right? Because if they said no, then obviously that means they didn't like you. But in this case, they kind of do because they gave you the opportunity to move forward. So this is, you're on a good track here. So you got a yes initially for their interest. You got a yes, right, because they want more information. And so now we're building some trust here. This is what I call the yes secret. For every yes you get during a sales process, it actually has a double meaning most people don't know about. Okay, what does a yes mean? Well, a yes means that they obviously agree with you, which when someone's in agreement with you, you're actually building rapport, right? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that here in a second. And that also means that they are giving you permission to move on to the next thing in the process, right? Because obviously if they say, if you ask them, does that make sense? And they say yes, now they're giving you permission to move on to the next thing, right? If you say, does that make sense? And they say no, obviously they're not giving you permission to move forward and they need some re-explanation of whatever that was in order for their thoughts to continue moving forward and actually listen to what you're saying, right? Because if someone's confused, mind you, if someone's confused about anything, guys, mind you, that's where they stop listening to you. So even if you say a word and all these guys that are trying to make all these crazy linguistic vocabulary words that no one understands and neither do your clients or anyone you're teaching it to, okay? The second you say one word that the other person you're speaking to doesn't understand, that's where they stop listening to. And even though they're obviously on the other line, on the other end of the phone call, they're actually not hearing anything you're saying. So from the spot, it could be at the beginning of the call. If you say a weird word they've never heard of, and you don't stop to ask them, does that make sense, right? You lost the call from the beginning. You literally wasted 45 minutes of your time because your clients were confused the entire call. They were stuck on the thought of what the heck that first word meant, and they were lingering through that the entire call, and they lost the rest of the call, and now you just wasted your time. So that's why it's always important to say, does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys? So at the end of the day, that's what this yes means. So moving forward, now you know that rapport building in a sale is when you're getting the other person to agree with you, your product, your views, ideas, and strategies. Whoever is teaching how to build rapport by speaking about the football game that happened last week for 30 minutes or 45 minutes and talk about the players and the plays and et cetera, and to build rapport, stop that right now. Because if you guys knew anything about our attention spans, you would know that our attention spans are smaller than goldfish. And if you're going to waste all their attention and energy on talking 30 minutes about the football game, that would mean that you care to get nothing accomplished other than burning their time, the limited amount of time they have, and not making any money in the bank. Okay? All you did was make a friend. Just call him. Just go hang out with him. Go watch a football game. You probably get a better return. Right? But if you're doing sales, guys, you need to be focused on the value. You need to be focused on what's in it for them. If it's not for them, don't talk about it. Reroute the conversation back to what is in benefit for them so that you guys can keep moving forward through the sales process and actually get the yes for the invoice, okay? So from this point on, now we've qualified them, okay? It's all about doing what? Building trust. I don't know, it froze there. Let's try that again. There it is. Building trust. It's all about trust. So we want to qualify them first because out of the 4 steps, it's trust, qualifying them, building trust in the person, the business, and the product, okay? So that's what we're going to do now moving forward during the call, okay? To decrease the fear and increase the certainty and chances of you to close more deals because it's all about trust. If they don't trust you, the product, or your business, you're not going to make the sale. Or it's going to be very, very difficult to, and if you do make the sale, those are what I call little leprechauns that just buy anything without even really knowing what they bought, right? And that's not common. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, this is what I call the Truss Scale. Okay, typically when you're starting out, right, when you're brand new or when you're speaking to someone brand spanking new cold, okay, their trust level is around the beginning, right? They have little to no trust in you here at the beginning stages, all right? As you start building trust, they'll start moving through the ranks and they'll eventually be here. Most people actually start in the neutral stage because for those who don't judge people, right, they'll start here. If you're judging people from their cover, and you say, oh, well, that guy's dressed like, I don't like how he's dressed. He must not know what he's doing. Well, you're going to be here up until he proves himself that what he's wearing doesn't mean anything to do with what he knows, right? But that guy, he needs to learn that way. And that guy's going to start there, and you're going to have to do extra work to get him past to this point. But for most people in general, they're stuck in this area here, and it's our job to move them away from this angle, for them moving that way, and actually moving them this way, to the right side, right? To the point where they're like, take my money, no questions asked. Trust, right? So here's little to no trust. Here is shut up and take my money trust, right? This right here is really, really rare. Typically, this usually is a referral. So when you're talking about take my money trust, right, typically you only get that type of trust when you're speaking to a referral or someone who already knows who you are and what you sell and what it includes, etc. And they're like, just here, take my money, right? And that's rare. So we're going to work on taking someone from here or from here and moving them to here because that's where we have the most chance to closing the sale, okay? Mind you, take a step back. If we asked for the sale here, do you guys think they would buy? If they trust you or they don't trust you, do you think they'll buy from you? Of course not, right? What are the probabilities you think they're buying if they're neutral, right? Well, in this case, it's actually like a balanced. So they can either say, yes, I want it, or no, I don't want it. But there isn't any predictability. They could go either way. And then here, it's very, very high chance that if you ask for the sale, you'll get it, okay? As long as you've covered all the other bases, okay? So what's our goal? Our goal is to increase the trust level and get your prospects closer to a 10, as close to a 10 as possible in all the 3 categories. Below, after qualifying them to substantially increase your chances of closing the deal. So after we qualify them, we want to increase the trust in the 3 categories, okay? Which is what? Trust in your product and service, right? Trust in your business, and trust in you, most important, okay? So check this out, guys. So I've created a heat map of trust, and the reason I did this is because you know, you guys all have different strategies you guys are running. Some of you guys are doing the Facebook group strategy. Some of you guys are running the walk-in strategy. Some of you guys are doing a cold outreach strategy via calls or emails. And some of you are running paid ads. And the reason I did this in colors was to kind of show you, based on temperature, where the person is in the sales cycle of trust, right? So if you're going from a Facebook group into a DM, okay, that's going to be, you know, the Facebook group is cold. In here, once you engage, right, it's going to get less cold, right? So let me break this down. Let me pull up everything here so I can walk you through. So through any of these strategies, what your goal is to get yeses, okay? So if you're running the Facebook group strategy, the first thing you're going to want to do is maybe make a post that's valuable. And if someone engages in them, in that post, you're going to send them a friend request, right, to someone who's engaged in that post. And if they accept that friend request, what they're actually doing is giving you one yes. And that's why that friend request that then turns into a DM that you're going to reach out to, right, that's going to turn into another yes if they're interested in learning more, because your DM would say something along like, hey, you know, I just saw you engaged in my post in this Facebook group. I was wondering if you can help me out, if there's anything else that I could help you with, question mark. That then turns into a conversation, would then lead into maybe possibly talking about how you can help them grow their business. And if that's the case, you stop right there. If you qualified them, to jump on a qualification call where you're going to ask them the questions that I shared with you, okay? So they gave you a yes here, I gave you a yes here, and now they're warmer coming into this qualification call because they already know a little bit about you, right, and who you are and what you do. Now the walk-in. The reason a walk-in, mind you, the darker blue is colder and the lighter blue is less cold, okay? If you go through the walk-in strategy, okay, the reason it's less cold than a cold outreach is because you're physically there. Your body is there. They can see your body language. They can see you, and they can see everything about you. And instantly, like anybody, you know, if they like you, right, they're going to want to hear you out and listen to you and actually give you an opportunity to find out more information. And so that's why it's much easier to get someone interested if you're walking in their business, because they can physically see you and they know you're local, etc. And so it's a higher chance, right? So they come into the qualification call a little bit warmer. Cold outreach, when you cold outreach and you're calling all these people and someone says they're interested, okay, well, they're going from really cold to a qualification call, which is where you're going to do your qualifications and filter out all the tire kickers, right? It's going to be harder. You're not going to get too many tire kickers using these Facebook groups and the walk-in strategy, because you're basically vetting them in person, and that's how you know that they're going to be a quality applicant. But if you're doing cold outreach to a qualification call, they don't know anything about you, who you are, and what you do. That's why it's super cold going into a qualification call, and you're going to run those questions. Now, paid ads, something I suggest down the line when you have a track record and you got testimonials. If you run a paid ad strategy, obviously it's to a cold audience, and they would see your strategy or what you do. If they click through the ad on Facebook and land on your funnel, they're actually giving you one yes there, that they're interested. And then they're going to schedule a call if they're actually super interested, and now they're giving you another yes because they clicked yes on the ad and then yes on your scheduled call button to book a call on your calendar. And so now they're going to go into your qualification call extra warm, not so cold, right? It's the way I call it. Moving on. So let's say you jump on the qualification call, you run those questions, and they are a right fit. Great. You're moving on to the next step, which is you're going to get another yes from them if they want to learn more. They want to learn more about your strategy or your solution. So you're going to schedule another call for 45-minute. The way I like calling it is a trust building closing call, because that's really all it is we're building trust throughout that entire call to eventually ask them for their money, okay? And so boom. So you go from a qualification call, yes, I want to learn about your strategy, and boom, now they're on the closing call. And if that all goes well and you follow the strategy for a close or for a proper presentation, which we're going to go through here in a second, they're going to say yes, they're going to pay your invoice, and it's going to lead to obviously money in the bank, right? So that's very important to see on a 100-foot view, right? Because it's going to give you clarity on where all the yeses are happening, and it's going to give you confidence that by the time they're at this spot or this spot, you know, that the approach is going to be different based on the strategy that you're using, okay? Here's our sales thermometer, right? So freezing cold is the dark blue, not so cold. is the light blue. Warm, they're here, right? And hot, they're here, right? Because by the time they're hot, they've said yes to you multiple times, okay? Well, next question is, how do you build trust and certainty in your product? So we just talked about how to qualify them. Now we're gonna talk about how to build trust in your product. Well, does your prospect who is qualified, right, have trust and certainty in the product that you're offering to work for them, right? Here's a few ways to build trust in your product and service. So be an absolute expert at explaining the benefits, KPIs, and positioning your system for them tailored to their specific pains that you have discovered, right? So the approach isn't always going to be the exact same. You're not going to follow a script and sound like a robot. If they tell you one thing, you're going to position your system around that thing. I'll give you an example. Let's say they say, I've done this in the past, but with the other company that I worked with, they were very bad at communicating and following up with me and letting me know how everything was going. And so you're gonna take that and position your product as the complete opposite. Well, with our system, we actually follow up with you every week telling you the updates. Not only that, we send you notifications of what's going on, all the updates, so you have no worries about that with us, right? So you just literally leveraged a frustration that they had and made it a benefit about your product, okay? Another thing that you can do to increase certainty and trust in your product is to share your screen and literally show them your process from start to finish and how you plan on executing your system for them. Build out a template campaign. There's actually a really cool tool. If you guys, let's say, right, you can funnel hack and do all kinds of stuff to get ad examples and things like that. A cool tool I used a lot was called Ad Espresso. Not Ad Espresso, what is it called? Ad Parlor or something like that. And basically what it does is it allows you to build like a templated campaign or ad, right? Where you can plug in the logo, copy, creative, and everything. And literally you can take that in a screenshot and apply that as part of your presentation to just give them an idea of what it may look like if you were to run the program with them, right? So that's an idea that you could do there because they can see themselves in the shoes of them working with you if you can show them literally what they'd get if they actually signed up, okay? Another thing that you can do to build trust in your product is recommending the right fit solution versus their plan and explaining why, right? No one likes working with an amateur. What better way to prove that you're actually an expert than reframing what they thought they needed and explaining them what the best actual recommendation is based on their pains and explaining why. That to me feels good, right? Because for example, I'll give you an idea, another industry. Let's say I want to work out. I want to get a six-pack. Okay, great. Well, for most people, right, they tell me that, all you have to do is do 1 million abs every single day. Just do 1 million abs and you'll get shredded. Great. Definitely doesn't work, okay? Then I speak to a personal trainer and they say, well, what are you doing for abs? Well, I'm doing 1 million abs a day every single day and that's what's been working for me, right? And that's what I've been taught. And then he's gonna tell me, well, I get that and I get why you think that way, but this is what I recommend. I recommend that you actually work out every single part of your body, at least 1% every single week, right? So that you can actually increase a pound of muscle per every single part of your body so that you can actually shred the fat that's actually contained here in your stomach, and you'll start to see not only shredding in your core, but the rest of your body. I could show you how to do that if you like. And it's like, holy smokes. It's like, man, I had no idea that was the way to get a six-pack. That guy over there who doesn't even have a six-pack told me how to do abs every single day. And so once again, you think that person will probably hire that personal trainer? Heck yeah, because he sounds like he knows what he's doing. And he understands that what you're doing isn't working and why. So take my money, right? Another way you could do it is show and describe your assets and deliverables and how they will solve their specific problems, right? So if they tell you, once again, they had a struggle, communicating with their past industry or past agency, right? You're going to explain how your agency is the complete opposite of that and how you are different and how you don't have the customer service problem, right? So that's that, okay? And then another way is to guide the prospect only to the product and services you believe are the best fit based on their scenario. And why do I say this? Well, because your clients are going to want A, B, C, D, and E for their business, but they can't afford all of these different things. But what you can do is say, okay, well, I see all these different things that you want to do, but instead of me just taking your money right now and not getting your result in all these different avenues, I recommend that you spend your money on X. Let's get a return there, and then let's start moving forward and working towards the other different things that you want to do where it makes most sense, right? Now, mind you, if they have a huge budget, which is rare, right? Then you can approach it a little bit differently. But for most small businesses, they don't have a lot of money to spend. So you really want to make sure that you take that money and spend it wisely for their best intentions based on the goals that they're wanting to accomplish. Okay? Another thing too you want to do to build trust in your product is understand how to future pace and describe the long-term benefits of the investment, right? So a lot of people think tangibly, meaning what do I get right now versus what does this mean to me long-term, right? And that's why lifetime value is important to understand, because it's not about what you get now, it's what you get over the period of time, right? What does it yield over a period of time, right? So in this time, right, well, what does it yield to run ads? Well, it yields data that we can use long-term to run other advertisements, data that we can use to learn about our customers, to improve our products, to improve our services. What does data do? Data gives you literally the keys to your success. And if you're not getting the data and tracking it appropriately like we do with our system, you're missing out on tons of money. You're missing on tons of opportunity if you're not doing this the right way. We can show you how. Okay? Once again, how to future pace it. Show them the future and the benefits of working with you long term. Okay? Versus short term, by the way. Oh, lost the screen. Okay, great. Here we go. Now we're going to talk about, right, how to present this thing, right? So everyone has a different strategy. Everyone has a different niche. So it's very difficult for me to give you the exact blueprint on how to present your services. But I'm going to try my best to do this so that you have at least a templated example or something you can reference to, and you can just kind of mold it, make it your own, and then actually apply it in your agency and make some money, okay? So here we go. First things first, you qualify them, right? And then you're going to jump on a call. Now, if you need the framework on how that call is supposed to be structured, highly suggest you join Dash Day, because we went through the exact sales framework that you need to actually run these calls sequentially in order where it actually makes sense psychologically to make the sale. But once you've gone past that part, so where basically you're explaining to them, and first you gather information, right? You're gathering information, you're qualifying them, and we go through that in the framework. And then once you've gathered information, they tell you, okay, yeah, show me your process. You're going to show them your process. You're going to say, well, let's say you're speaking to a roofer. Okay, so with our program, what we do is we actually run an ad from Google similar to this, and you can show them this, or you can show them a template, you can give them an example of what it would say, for example. And we would drive that ad into a landing page mini website that they would design specifically for your business with your brand and everything, so that we could drive the traffic over to that landing page and start generating you predictable opportunities for your business, okay? And then we take that and we put them through a follow-up sequence. For those who don't actually submit information right away, we follow them up so that we make sure that we can catch anybody who falls off and bring them back into the sales cycle so that we can maximize on all the opportunities. It doesn't stop there, because we also, on top of also generating you high quality predictable leads every single month, right, which we can actually control based on ad spend. So if we want more leads, we can easily just up the ad spend. But on top of doing all of those things, what you're also going to get, and this is where the transition is, now not only will we generate you more clients with our one-of-a-kind system, but what you will also get included with us is your own username and password, where you can actually log into your own dashboard and actually check in real time the analytics of your campaigns that we're going to run for you. Okay? You can't get that anywhere else unless, they have this system, which it's ours and no one else has, okay? What you're also going to get with us is your own client CRM. So as you start getting leads coming through the funnel, through the website, through our campaign, they're actually going to appear in a CRM where you can actually log in, control, and see all the leads coming in. You can see the data, you can see the name, email, phone number, when they came in, where they came from, and everything at your own. You can literally log in whenever you want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no need to have to go back and forth about your statistics or analytics, because you can log in whenever you want. But it doesn't stop there, because we're also going to show you all the reporting metrics of our campaign. So if we're going to run a Facebook ad campaign, in this case, you're going to also get your own login to actually access all the analytics in real time. So you know exactly where every single dollar is spent, right? And then you could put a story here, because you could say, well, because I understand, how important it is for a business owner like yourself who really values their money to know exactly where that money is being spent and just to have clarity. So with us, we give you transparency, 100% transparency. You'll have your own login, you'll have your own CRM, and you'll also get your own analytical dashboard where in real time, all the analytics are updated and you can log in 24 hours, 7 days a week. How does that sound, Mr. Client? Great, awesome. So once again, you have to wait till they acknowledge. If they say, well, I don't get what that other thing is, well, you got to take a step back. Don't move forward yet. Take a step back and say, okay, well, what part do you have a question on? Is it the login? Okay, great. This is what it is. This is how you do it, etc. Does that make sense? How does that sound, Mr. Client? Then you say that again. If they say that sounds great, boom, they're giving you permission similar to a yes. They're giving you permission to move on to the next thing. And you're going to say something like, oh, and by the way, you guys, you can over-deliver with confidence, because that's what DashClicks is for, right? So that you can be perceived as this elite marketing agency, even if you're just starting out. So over-deliver with confidence, have certainty that your product is amazing, because it is, and that's how you're going to win the deal, because they can feel that over the phone, like you could probably feel it watching me do this live, okay? But wait, there's more, right? And this is where you deliver the wow factor. This is something, by the way, guys, wow factor is something I learned from working at Disney World. Okay, I worked at Disney World, one of the hardest places to work, and I learned so much from their business model, because literally it's perfect. When you're talking about perfect, I mean, there is no way that you can basically be unhappy or be sad at Disney, because they have such a structured system, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to deliver the wow factor, and we're going to transition and say something like, it doesn't stop there. With us, you're also going to get, boom, your own tracking system where you can track your leads, and as they come in, you can see all the data and filter, was it a good lead, a bad lead, did they not become a client? You can write memos for your own records, so that if you have multiple people following up, everyone can follow on each other's notes and actually continue that conversation where it's not awkward and you're not referencing anything from the past, right? So you're gonna get that included as well, okay? And not only that, but at the end of the month, you'll be able to see all the analytics over time. So you'll be able to see, okay, at the end of the month, we got 139 leads total. 101 of those came from calls. 38 of those came from emails. In this case, we're not running a funnel, so you don't see any leads in the funnel, but you'll be able to see and track all the data month after month, so you know exactly what's working, what isn't working, and what needs to be improved and what can be scaled, okay? On top of that, Mr. Client, you'll also even be able to see the track record of every single one of your leads. So how cool would it be to know that your client, one, called you on your website, then after that, they went on your website and submitted your form, then after that, maybe they called you 2 weeks later via the phone number again, and then maybe they called you again a week later after that. Imagine having that track record so that you know the sales cycle or the life cycle of that client before they actually became a paying client, right? Once again, it's data. Data, data, data. Data doesn't lie, and if you're not tracking, you can't improve, okay? So, boom, you get a wow, okay? When I say the wow factor, you get a wow when it's unexpected and it's simply amazing, making them feel wowed. Because literally, it's gonna make me say, wow, like, holy smokes, I was not expecting any of that. I was expecting for you to just tell me you run a Google ad to a landing page, just like everybody else. But with you, wow, holy smokes, I get all of this stuff. That is simply amazing, okay? Moving on. So how do we build trust and certainty in your business? Okay? Does your prospects who are qualified actually trust your business that they are buying the product and service from? Well, here's a few ways to build trust in your business. One, set proper expectations about results. What kind of results can you get, okay? What have your experiences been, okay? Share your tenure. How long have you been doing this? How many clients have you managed in the past? Show them that you're an expert in your field, okay? Show them previous results, the data, the numbers of someone just like them that had the same problems that they do, and now they don't, AKA a case study, that you get from a client, okay? And basically, moving forward, keep going. You also want to be as transparent as water of who you serve and who you don't serve, right? Because if you're a specialist agency and you're speaking to someone who's not in your niche, you're wanting to say, hey, well, we don't work with you, unfortunately, because we're specialists in only this specific industry, okay? It's going to increase your value. Okay, you want to show them the deliverables. You want to have case studies and testimonials ready from clients that have the same problems that they have. You want to standardize and facilitate communication channels. So this is extremely important. That's why I put it a line item. Clients love communication. They love being able to get help when they need it. And that's why you want to make sure that that's a value that you provide. And then have a guarantee. And by guarantee, I mean not a guarantee of specific amount of leads. I mean a guarantee that if you do and you don't get X, we'll cover your next month's bill. And that was something that I did. Guys, I did this thing because, I had a bunch of referrals. I had a bunch of clients. So, for me to pay someone's bill didn't really mean much in this case. But the guarantee that I had after certain many clients was if you do what we say and you don't get X, the intended result, I'll cover your next month's bill until you do, right? And that was my guarantee. And you can change it. I'll give you actually another guarantee here in a minute. And so most importantly, how do you build trust in you? Okay, that's the last component. Do they really trust you? Well, here's a few ways. You want to be human, not a robot. So be human just like I'm with you, just like you are with your friends, just like you are with your family. Be human, okay? Guide them to the purchase and don't sell them. People don't like to be sold, okay? Be likable and fun. Crack a joke when you can. Make it fun. Relieves tension. Just be human. Show your personality, okay? Be busy. Value your time in theirs, right? That's why we don't go off on a tangent for 30 minutes because you don't know what's in their, in their calendar to do next, right? So you want to make sure you value your time and their time because that's going to also show that you are an expert in what you do, okay? By the way, the agencies that have all the time in the world have absolutely no clients. So your clients also have that filter. Or your prospects. You want to understand the essential KPIs and make it clear that your decisions are all based on data-driven decisions, not emotions. So we take actions based on data, not emotions like other people and other agencies do. Okay, so everything is ran by numbers. That's why we provide you that tracking database in the dashboard that you can log into so that you have all the essential KPIs that you need. Okay. And then you want to understand the essential KPIs. Make it clear that your decisions are, I said that, moving forward. And then you want to bleed with confidence, guys. Your tone of voice, your body language, the way you're promoting and sharing your product and benefits, guys. If you sound like you're stuttering or you're scared or you're fearful or you don't even know what the heck you're saying, if you're not confident in your own product, stop selling it. Because who wants to buy something from someone who doesn't even believe in their own product? Okay, so that's why that's important. And then you want to share your expertise and specialty knowledge, specifically in their market. That's why it's nice to niche down because you can specifically talk about things in their industry that you can talk to about them and their things rather than, being a generalist and not being able to relate to those things specifically, right? They talk about things about their market, business, pains, desires, their best practices. Even if you can know about their best competitors or their biggest competitors, that's even more bonus points for you. Share your purpose. Make it clear that you want to truly help them. Right? And if it makes sense versus just taking their money if it doesn't. Okay, show them that you actually care about helping them versus taking their money, right? Be relentless about how you value customer service over everything else. Okay? And then don't over-exaggerate, lie, or agree to everything they say just to make the sale. Okay? Be ethical and be honest. People love that. Okay? And then have a confidence guarantee. Here's the other guarantee that I gave you guys for those who don't have track records. If they don't work with you, okay, the guarantee is this. This is a confidence guarantee. If you don't work with me, my guarantee is that you won't be able to get this level of red carpet service alongside all the tangibles and results anywhere else. So you're buying into me. Okay, that's basically what I'm saying there. Okay? So what's left? With enough clarity and certainty, there is confusion and objections. Without enough clarity and certainty, there is confusion and objections. And if there's any confusion or uncertainty, a confused or uncertain buyer never buys. Okay? So what an objection actually is, it actually also has three meanings during a call. It actually means that I'm still interested, because if not, they would have just hung up the phone on you. It also means that they're missing information and that they don't know if they can trust you yet. They don't have enough trust in your product, business, or you yet to take a risk. And an objection means that they're giving you permission and another opportunity to impress them, shut them up, and take their money, or else they're going to go to someone else who will. Okay? So you guys really need to be proactive on figuring out what to say during an objection, which I'm also going to give you guys as an added bonus alongside this training, so you guys are equipped with what you need to say during the objection phase, okay? So once your client is as close to a 10 on the Truss Scale as possible, 9 out of 10 prospects will typically ask you, how much would it cost to get started with your program, right? That's when you get that, when they actually feel good about everything they just saw, they feel good about you, they feel good about your business, they're gonna naturally ask you, well, how much does it cost? This sounds amazing, right? They will hint you that they are ready. And their next question usually is, how soon can they get started? Okay? If you do this right, quote unquote, what they're really saying is that they give you permission to sell them, and then if they have no objections, that you qualify to ask for the sale, meaning taking their money. Okay? Here's where you go over the investment. Okay, so when they ask you how much does it cost, you're going to go over your investment, your setup timeline, the agreement, guarantees, if you have any deliverables, expectations, and what the next steps look like, okay? Then you're gonna bring home the bacon. Last step of the process, guys, we made it to the end. You're gonna bring home the bacon. So by overcoming the objections, you'll be moving each time a step closer to your next yes, and increasing trust in the 3 categories qualifying you to ask for the sale. Okay, so here we have our 3 guys again. Typically, most will start here or here, right? And our goal is to move them through this path to get them around here or here. Why? Well, because if they're here, there's a very low probability to make the sale. If they're in the center here, they can go either way, or they need more information. And then if they're within the 7 through 10, there's a very good probability to make the sale. 9 and 10 is very high probability to make the sale. So our goal is obviously to move them as close to this, so it just makes it literally super easy to collect the cash, okay? How do we ask for the sales? All dreams require action, and the most important action is the one that finalizes the transaction, right? Because what's the purpose of doing all this if you're not going to ask for the sale? And a lot of people forget. So here's a few examples on how to ask for the sale. Most people forget to do this and never get paid. Can I welcome you to the family, right? They're going to say yes. You're going to shut up, by the way. I forgot to add, you need to say this and shut up. Because if you speak again, you lose, okay? So you're going to say, can I welcome you to the family? And you shut up. They say yes, next thing you know, the invoice is on their way, or you collect their information over the phone, okay? Here's another one. This is a future pacing question. Is the email abc@123.com the best place to send you all the onboarding details to? If they say yes to that question, that means that they're ready, right? Another one. When would you like to get started with the process, as it takes a few days to get set up? Right away or tomorrow morning at around 10 a.m. Don't give them an option to leave. Give them the option to get started. Okay, that's all we're doing. We're trying to get a yes here. Yes, yes, yes. Okay? Here's another one. I know it's a big investment, right? As you should congratulate yourself for being able to make this investment at this magnitude. Okay? Not everyone can even consider doing this program. I have everything ready to go on my end. If you have no other questions and we both agree there's a right fit for you, you know you are capable of making this happen, let's do this. So that's kind of like a more motivational one, right? Where you're just kind of providing them certainty in that they can actually accomplish and do the things that you're saying that you can do. And it's just that. It's like literally you're empowering them to take action, okay? And the bonus that I was saying, so I'll attach a list, guys, for the top agency objections that I get as an included bonus underneath or above this training, okay? And you'll find that alongside the recording of this training so you can rewatch it and check it out at your own pace. So here I'm going to have a second of Q&A if we have any questions, and if not, I think this was an amazing training. I think this is extremely valuable, and there's a lot of information that I believe everyone should watch, I think 1 or 2 different times, right? It's because every single time you watch something, you get more information out of it. Because if you're learning something new, you're wanting to understand that before moving forward. Okay, so Once again, I'll put this recording in the membership area alongside the bonus. And if there's no other questions, I don't see any questions, that means I did a great job. I truly thank you for taking part again, once again, in our Dash U episode. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week on our Agency Influencer Secrets. Take it easy, guys.